Whether you own a Can-Am Ryker like this or any other motorcycle without modern features, this might be one of the best upgrades you can make. The CPMC Z55B all-in-one unit will modernize your ride with wireless CarPlay or Android Auto, front and rear dash cameras, TPMS, and more. With all that said, what is it actually like to ride with this unit? Well, let's go for a quick ride and find out. As you can see, it starts out pretty quick. As soon as the power's on, it's ready to go. And it will auto-connect to my phone within a couple of seconds on its own. I'm not going to do anything. Well, I'm just going to start riding. Let's go into reverse. And there it is. As you can see, the CarPlay is now on. It automatically connected and switched to it. So that's super nice. So what, within 10-15 seconds of starting the bike, this is ready to go. Let's take a quick look and see what comes inside the box of this CarPlay motorcycle riding system. All right, and here's the unit itself. We have one big wire in the back here, so all of our connections are going to go through this. Solid bracket in the back. This is that main cable that goes into the unit, and then it splits into the cameras, the controller, the GPS, and power. Here's our power adapter, rear camera, a USB power cable, so maybe that's possible, we'll see. The quick release bracket, the main bracket with a few different shims, the front camera, our wired controller. We have an extension for that bracket in case we need it. The TPMS sensors, the GPS antenna, the wireless BSD adapter, another little bracket, and we have a set of tools and zip ties. And lastly, we have a 64 gig micro SD card, so that's very nice that they included. And that's pretty much it. So obviously I'm installing this unit on this Can-Am Ryker trike, which is a little bit different from a normal motorcycle, but I'm sure we can figure that out. What I've done so far is just connected most of the cables. So I got the wiring that comes off of the unit, and I've connected most of the items to it just to see how far the cables reach and where I can hide all of those cables. I'm thinking of using the power that comes here from this USB port. Of course, you can hardwire it into the bike, but I think we don't necessarily need to do that. The only thing that I may need to hardwire is this BSD, the blind spot detection system. This is the only thing that requires accessory power. Unfortunately, it has to go in the back, and I'm not sure if there's an accessory port anywhere in the back. So we may have to extend the wire, or maybe we'll skip that feature for now. We'll see. The only issue that I could see is that I can't really mount it right here in the middle where I would want it to be, mostly because the fuel filler cap is right here. So if I mount it right here, it's going to be in the way. And I don't think it's a good idea to have electronics right next to your fuel. So most likely I'm just going to mount it right here. That way it's not blocking this display and it's not in the way of the fuel filler cap. I'm going to start by removing this panel right here as well as this one so I can see where I can hide all of my wiring. So to do that, I'm going to move the steering to the side, open this up, and there are a few clips right here, so I'm going to remove those as well as these two right here using just simple plastic trim removal tool. Works pretty well. All right, that comes off pretty easy. The cool thing about the Strike is that it has two accessory plugs right here. So if you'd like to get some auxiliary power, well, we can do that right here. It says 6 amp max load. Otherwise, I'm just going to use the USB connector. I think that's going to be a little bit easier. I will try to hide most of my cables under this panel right here, as well as in this area, as there's tons of space here. Also, this is how I assembled the unit, and that's how I'm going to be installing it. So we have the little dampers right here. So that's going to get rid of some of the vibrations. This swivels, so that'll make it a little bit easier to adjust. And I'm going to put some rubber pieces that came with the unit so it doesn't scratch the handlebars. And that's pretty much it. This will just screw in and we'll tighten it once it's in place. Of course, we can make it higher or lower. That really depends on the preference. I like it like this. And that's what it looks like from the driving position. So your controls on the left side are still visible. Obviously, I need to leave a lot of slack, so when you turn the handlebars, this does not get pulled on. So I think I'm going to take off this little cover as well and see if I can route it the same way as these wires go. Just pulling this forward gently. I'm going to reconnect all of these connectors so I can hide them underneath. I don't really want to take this off, as taking all of the wiring loop from this bracket
I don't want to damage anything basically, so I'm just gonna approach it this way. I like that these click in really nicely, and then you can tighten them so you know the connection is gonna be good. There's just enough space in there for me to hide the wiring. I want this USB cable to come through this little hole right here. I have to make a little notch in the insulation here. And that should be enough, and I can probably silicone around that or something like that, but I don't think it's even needed. All right, next let's install this front camera, and I'm just gonna put it right here. So make sure it's nice and straight. That'll work, and the wire can go back into this bracket. Next, I'll show these buttons. They're gonna go on the right side of the handlebars. Yeah, that should be good enough. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it goes, but we can make that work. It's a little loose, but I think that's good enough. The last part up front here is gonna be this GPS module. Yes, it says this side up, but I think I'm gonna mount it just like this. Clean that off a bit. All right, and the last one is gonna be this rear camera. So let's find a way to route this to the back. All right, and we have it in the position we wanted it. Let's stick this one on right here in the middle. That should do fine. And now to clean this up. And now to reassemble this area here. And the last two. All right, I think we're done with that part. Lastly, let's install the TPMS sensors. Obviously, this vehicle has 3 wheels, so I'll just be installing it on the front 2 wheels. So even though it's going to say front rear, it's going to be more like left right. With everything installed, let's connect our phone and check out the rest of the features. So I'm going to power the bike on, and as you can see, when you power the bike on, it will turn on automatically any second now, as soon as the USB port is powered. So it takes about, I don't know, 10 seconds. Now we have a few features here. We have kind of a dash here where you have your north, south, west, east. On the left side, you have your tire pressure on the right, speed right in the middle, clock, few settings here at the bottom, and we have a few icons here at the top. So Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS, BSD, micro SD card, and whether it's recording or not at this time. And it is, because we can see that's red. Before I connect my phone, let's just go over some of the settings here. So if we go to settings, we have instrument. So you have tire pressure settings. This is where you would be binding your tire pressure sensors, and it's actually very easy to bind the sensors. All you have to do is unscrew them from the wheel, then screw them back on, and it will pop up here in the settings, and then you can bind it to the front or rear wheel depending on where the sensor is. And you can put your alarm thresholds here as well, so between 20 and 40 psi. And of course you can switch the units from PSI to bar to PSI, and between Fahrenheit or Celsius. We also have radar settings where you can adjust and pair the radar sensor. I did not install it on this bike, so I'm not going to be showing that to you in this video. Next, let's go to recorder, and in recorder, these are our cameras. So this will be our rear camera, and of course we can just switch to the front camera. Very nice. You can of course manual record it, take a picture, or go back and view the videos from earlier. So we can go the front normal recording as an example, click on something here, maybe while I was driving. There you go. And you can play it just like that. You have some settings that you can adjust, so you can change the video duration. Luckily, you also have the rear camera settings, so you can go in and flip the image. So if you mounted it upside down, or if you mounted it left to right, whatever it may be, you can mirror the image as well. You have Sentinel mode, so that's pretty cool. It can actually work as a kind of stationary dash cam. I haven't enabled that, but that's something to look into if that's what you like. You also have a recording switch, and you can format your SD card from here as well. Anyway, let's connect our phone. So we're going to go to mobile screen. I'm going to hit on CarPlay, and here you can select if it's Android Auto, CarPlay, Wi-Fi video, whatever these other ones are, I'm not really sure. So I'm just going to stick to CarPlay, and now I'm going to connect to this Bluetooth name. So Z55B. Pair, allow. We're going to do this live. And there you go. A few seconds later, we have our Apple CarPlay on this unit, just like that. And you can connect, obviously, any phone that you like. What can we do with this? Well, anything you can do in your car, of course. You have all of the apps available that you would have on a normal CarPlay unit. And of course, you can use any music app as well. So Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube Music, whatever you like. And you are still able to do that because your phone will be connected with Bluetooth or whatever you're using to your headphones. So your headphones connect to your phone connects to this. That way you'll have your maps plus the music playing on your AirPods or any other headset, and you'll be able to control it from here as well. So that way you don't have to take your phone out to change the music, and you have your map here as well. So full screen or split screen, however you like. As you can see, we also have a little shortcut here. So this will take you home. So if you press that button, it'll take you back to the home screen. But we also have a physical controller here on the side that we've installed. So we have 3 buttons. You have your home button. So that will take you to the rear camera or take you back to CarPlay. You can also cycle between different views. So you can use this button right here. That will be rear camera, front camera, tire pressure settings, or the main dash. You can also take a picture by pressing this call button. So that will take a photo. You can also lock out the touch screen. So if you press and hold the home button for a few seconds, it locks the screen. So now the touch screen doesn't work. So that might be useful in some cases, maybe if it's raining, so it doesn't change anything on the screen. So I'm going to press it again to unlock for 3 seconds. There it is, touch activated. And that's pretty much it. Tons of cool functionality here.
With all that said, what is it actually like to ride with this unit? Well, let's go for a quick ride and find out. So what, within 10-15 seconds of starting the bike, this is ready to go. That's one of my favorite things about this unit. It's actually quick and responsive, so that makes it easy and fun to use. One thing I forgot to mention, should probably stop for this one, you can adjust the brightness. So we just got in the sun, and of course we can change the brightness to from super dark to super bright, or we'll leave it in auto. Right now it's a very sunny day, so we want it to be as bright as possible so you can easily see it in the sun. And it is actually easy to see in the sun, even through my visor, so that's pretty impressive. And of course you can just press that big button with your gloves and you're ready to go. You have your navigation. You know, some people will say, why do you even need this unit? Your phone can do pretty much everything that this unit does. Well, first of all, you get your camera, so you have that safety built in basically. You get front and rear recorded the whole time. But second of all, you don't ever have to pull your phone out to do anything anymore. You can have your navigation right here. You can also listen to music, so your Bluetooth speakers or your Bluetooth headphones or earbuds or whatever, or AirPods would just connect to your phone and play the music that way, and you can control it through here. And the buttons are decent enough, big enough, where you can still change the music or whatever your podcast you're playing, as well as see your maps on the left side. Or you can go full screen, I mean, it doesn't matter. And it's as easy as just, you know, selecting a location. And we're going, so we're navigating now. And yeah, you can just go back to split screen. You get your directional information over there. Super nice. And I don't know about you, pulling out your phone even at a stoplight feels super sketchy on the bike, so I never do it, and sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out where you're going if you missed a turn or something like that. This way, well, it's available right here. I also really like it for the rear view camera, as you can see right there. So I switch lanes, we can see that there's a car behind us, there's going to be another one pulling up. We can see how fast they're going, if that's something to be concerned about, and it's recorded as well. And it's nice that you still get your speed right here and the direction of travel. See, like that BMW behind me, they weren't stopping for that yellow light, so that's something you want to know when you're on the bike. You don't want to, you know, hit your brakes and stop there and get rear-ended. Of course you have your mirrors, you can see the same stuff, but this is right in front of you, you don't have to look to the sides. And honestly, things like this make me want to go ride more, because I can just set myself a nice route. There are websites that give you cool rides around you, so you can just put that into your navigation and follow it and find some really nice spot and easily get back home without having to worry that, you know, you have to take your phone out all the time and figure out where you're going, anything like that. I do wish that controller was a little bit more clear about what each button does. It doesn't seem to be exactly the same every time. So if I press this home button, that takes me to the camera. Why? I'm not really sure. But if I press it again, it takes me here. So it's kind of switching through the different options on here, which I would expect that top button to do. And then this phone button, that takes a picture. So it takes a photo, which is great. That saves it as a kind of emergency photo that's useful, but not what I would expect it to do. I would expect it to do a call, or maybe go to the call menu in CarPlay or something like that. Maybe it's also used for picking up the phone, I'm not sure. But yeah, a little strange, but obviously it's still very helpful, so you can switch between the different modes. And you also have this touch button right here, so you can just go straight home if you need to. And then you have big buttons here, so you can easily navigate to where you need to go. Well guys, that's pretty much all I have to say about this unit. I think it's a pretty cool device that adds a ton of useful modern features like CarPlay, Android Auto, dual dash cams, TPMS, and more for not a lot of money. If you'd like to get yours, check out the links in the description to get a discount. Of course, you can get whichever device you want, but this one's pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out these videos if you'd like to learn more about BMWs, my BMW R9T, or a lot of other vehicle content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.